Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Justin here and welcome to my new office. So this is a very long awaited tour, and if you follow me over on Twitter, you may know I've been working on it for quite a few months now. By the way, every single product featured in this video that I can find on Amazon will be linked in the description for your convenience, but without further ado, let's start talking about this. So for the last 5 years, I recorded videos and edited out of my bedroom and a shared office upstairs. However, we have a guest bedroom in the basement that is never used, and I woke up one day late in the summer and just decided to ask my mom if I can convert the room into my new office. So I started out by taking everything down, and after painting all the walls, I ended up hopping on a ferry and headed over to IKEA in Vancouver since I do not have IKEA on my island in order to find inspiration for the office setup and see how I can take advantage of the 150 square foot of space I have in this room. I ended up deciding on the furniture and had it brought over from Vancouver over to here, and from there it was the start of the new office and what I would call the dream office. By the way, the light bulbs are generously provided by LifeX, which allow the lights to be changed in terms of the colors and brightness, so I'll be talking about that more later in this video. I went all out in this office and didn't really have a general budget, but instead decided what was functional and purchased it, as this is where I plan to work for at least the next few years. There's a lot of elements to it, starting out with the main station where my assistant and I work, as well as an editing bay behind it and the editing station that I originally have upstairs, but also a small little office theater that I added just a few weeks ago. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this. So this is the main desk, and of course, like I mentioned, everything is from IKEA. I use the Linmon table and put it on Alex drawer units on both sides, and I think the shelving looks really nice as well. Being someone who is extremely OCD, I made sure everything was pretty much symmetrical throughout. The Alex drawer units provide tons of storage for the office, and it's often hard to find stuff because you don't know which drawer you last put something in. And by the way, I love the chairs in the office, and they are the Herman Miller Eames. I'm a huge fan of Herman Miller furniture. So starting out with the displays I purchased, I went with the Samsung 29-inch curved widescreen SE790C monitor. So with everyone going with widescreen displays, I thought this would be a great choice for the office. I love these displays so far, and although they are 2560 by 1080 resolution, I've been totally fine with it, as I decided that 34-inch display would just be way too big for this setup. For this setup, I have my maxed out 15-inch MacBook Pro Retina connected to it, and before this I didn't really use that computer a lot unless I was traveling and had to edit on the go, but it has worked very well as you would expect, and it handles video editing just fine as well, but I still like to go with my Mac Pro most of the time. And on the other side, my assistant has one as well, and as you can tell, he is very productive. In addition to that, I also have my iPhone 6s sitting on an Apple stand, which I think looks really clean and nice. And here are just a couple phones sitting around my office right now, which is the LG G4 and the OnePlus 2, as well as another iPhone. And by the way, these skins look awesome, and if you want to get some for yourself as well, be sure to check out D-Brand skins in the description section below. As you can tell, I kinda just went crazy with the colors. As for the peripherals, I went for something really clean. I'm typically a fan of Logitech stuff, but I decided to go with the standard Apple Magic Mouse and keyboard for both sides, as they were cheaper, and as you can see it looks really clean, and I'm totally fine with the older model as they were heavily discounted online used when the newer models came out for the keyboard and mouse. Behind Jake's setup and next to the door, there is also another IKEA drawer unit with a lamp that I'm a huge fan of, and you've probably seen it in the background of some videos. Unfortunately, they discontinued it. So as you may have noticed by now, there's 2 gray walls in the office and 2 white walls, and the furniture kind of goes with that in white and gray as well. In addition to the main setup, there is also an editing bay behind me, which I actually just constructed this weekend. There was a blank space behind me and I didn't really know what to put there, so I decided to actually buy the exact same Asus display and exact same speakers that I had in my upstairs setup. And if I felt like working downstairs where it was quieter because my sister isn't sharing the office with me, I would move the Mac Pro down and plug that in. Next to that, there is an IKEA kitchen unit, and that is meant to be a mobile chopping board, but I actually really like it to stow gear on it and also record some videos on that. And I do also have a DJI Phantom 3 drone, and if you follow me on Twitter, you may know I suck at flying it. If you plan to fly these indoors, you should probably read the instruction manual, otherwise this will happen. I tried to keep this editing bay as simple as possible, and in the middle you've got an Asus 32-inch PQ321Q display, which is a 4K display, and it has come down in price significantly over the past few years, but it is still an incredible display for video editing. As for the peripherals, I just transfer them from the upstairs setup to downstairs, and that is the Logitech K810 Easy Switch keyboard, which has 3 Bluetooth profiles, as well as the Logitech MX Master mouse, which I'm a huge fan of. You've also got one of my recent purchases, which is a 12-inch MacBook, which I use for school, and I sold my 11-inch to get this, and it is in space gray, looks awesome, and has worked great as well. If you had seen my previous setup tour, you may know I used the Rode NT-G2 XLR microphone, and I bought something really similar for this setup, and this is the Rode NT USB. I really do like Rode products, but a huge reason why I like it is because of the built-in pop filters, as it just looks really clean and slick. You may have noticed by now, I also have the Audio Engine A2 Plus, and once again I had these in my previous setup, so I decided to get another one of these for downstairs as well. They sound amazing, and at their price they're definitely worth every cent. A big bonus is that they look pretty good as well. Last but not least, you've got my 2013 Mac Pro, which is my main machine for video editing and just daily operations. It has so far served me pretty well, and I originally purchased the 4-core model used, but I ended up upgrading quite a bit over the past year or so I've had it. It now has dual D700 GPUs with 12GB of video memory, 64GB of RAM, as well as 1TB of PCIe SSD. And lastly, my most recent upgrade was a 10-core CPU, which is an Intel Xeon clocked in at 3GHz. The total upgrades bumped my Mac up from about 13,000 in the Geekbench test up to 30,000. And being someone who edits and does everything in 4K, it is definitely a big boost. The last thing in my office was a home theater system that I just put together a few weeks ago. The TV stand unit is kind of a love it or hate it in that bright yellow, but I personally think it goes very well with this office, and I'm a fan of it. But more importantly, the TV is a 55-inch Vizio M series, which is their new series this year, and I love it so far. It is 4K as you know, and one of the cheaper 4K TVs out in the market, and it also has full array backlighting, and even preferred over the 55-inch curved Samsung that I purchased for my bedroom. It is a smart TV, and I think it has a really clean look to it, and originally I purchased a 50-inch model as it was cheaper, but ended up returning it and getting a 55-inch, and I think it's definitely worth it. The size is perfect for watching while working on my desk, and although I would have liked to have a couch in the office, I couldn't find one that would fit without taking up too much room in the space. One of the features that it has though that I've pretty much gotten used to is the keyboard located on the back of the remote, and that just speeds everything up, and I don't know why every company hasn't done this yet. So now that I've gone through pretty much every part of this setup tour, I want to show you one last thing, and it is just so cool. LifeX sponsored us with 15 of their LifeX original light bulbs, which are multicolor and Wi-Fi controllable from your smartphone. They are also 1000 lumens each, so in a 150 square foot room I had 15 pots installed, and it works very well. It makes the office very bright and positive to work in, and it's actually so bright that I don't need these huge, ugly, and hot softboxes in the room anymore for recording videos. The lights itself don't only adjust the colors, but they also have 1000 shades of white as well, so I could set it to the perfect Kelvin value for my camera. Oh, by the way, you also have some pretty cool effects such as a strobe function, which everyone seems to hate except for me. In addition to my basement office, I decided to keep my setup upstairs as I wasn't able to bring this entire desk downstairs. There was just no space. It's still a nice place to work, and I edit a lot of my videos up here still, but it's nice to have the option when I need to bring the Mac Pro downstairs and be able to edit there as well. I was originally planning to take the setup down and just take the monitors and speakers downstairs, but I would definitely miss it. So I think now is a good time to wrap things up, and just a quick little picture showing the room before, which was kind of the forgotten room in the house, into a beautiful office which I now call JTechApple HQ. Like I mentioned, everything is going to be linked in the description section below in case you would like to purchase it to add to your setup. But if you guys enjoyed this tour, be sure to leave a like, as this has been months in the making, and leave a comment down below as to what you think or what else I should add or improve in the setup. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.